Hey, Mike and Missy here. We recognize that this can be an intense time for marriages, and so we want to give you guys some practical tips to thrive through this crisis.
And if you have kids, we're going to throw in a bonus parenting tip that will help you disciple your kids throughout this time as well. So here we go. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is conflict. It happens. And trying to resolve a conflict in a crisis heightens the stress level, and it's hard to get out of that. You don't really see the light at the end of the tunnel. And guys, this actually gets to the heart of why we wanted to do these marriage videos, because we saw it starting in China when this crisis started, and I happened to see an article this week about how lawyers are predicting the divorce rates, the divorce filings to come like skyrocket as soon as we get out of this. So conflict is happening. How do we resolve it? What are the best tips for that? And really, what's our prescription for that?
Yeah, so Ephesians talks about this. It says in chapter 4, be angry and do not sin. And take care of your anger before the sun goes down, because you don't want to give the devil an opportunity. And so we have here this verse that talks about this emotion of anger that we have. And guys, I get sometimes conflict, you may not be able to resolve the content right away, but you need to address the emotions as soon as possible. Because if you don't, those emotions can sit and dwell in you. The negativity can sit and dwell, and you can end up dwelling in darkness, not dwelling in the light. And in doing so, you crack open the door for the enemy. And some translations say you give him a foothold. Like, think about you dragging him around. Just, he's holding on your foot, he's hindering you, he's holding you back. And so what you want to do is get rid of that anger and address the emotion, because you don't want to sin in it. And the anger isn't the sin yet. But when you don't address, when you sit in the emotion of it and dwell in the negativity of it and perpetuate the conflict, it becomes sin, and you give the enemy a foothold. So the prescription is get rid of the emotion of it. Just say, I don't want this, and seek forgiveness from one another. Now, that might not mean the emotion goes away completely, but at least you've taken the right step in the direction to walk with the Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, practically, that actually means before you go to sleep, you need to work out those emotions of it. Guys, remember, the content, that can come later. But the emotions of it are where we don't want you to dwell. Because like I said, the enemy, and I don't know about you, but the enemy works, he works in darkness. A lot of conflicts happen right as you're getting ready to go to bed, right? It seems to be a time where conflict can breed. And so work through that, work through the emotions of it. And if you can't resolve the content, that's okay, but get to a point where you're like, okay, let's discuss this action tomorrow, civilly loving each other, but let's deal with the emotions of the anger and the emotions that caused the conflict to arise. So.
Yeah, just remember, you guys are on the same team here. You guys are one flesh. Remember that principle that we talked about in, I think, the first or second video. And so here's a bonus parenting tip for you guys. Don't be afraid to let your kids, your children, see you in conflict, but always let them see the resolution. And so some people are like, oh, you shouldn't argue in front of the kids and those things. No, let your kids see real life. Then you can disciple them in a real life. Then you can show them how to resolve conflict, how to seek resolution, how to reconcile at the same time. And if you're in conflict with your kids, which if you have kids, you're in conflict with your kids a lot. If you're in conflict with your kids and you are wrong, don't ever hesitate to apologize and seek their forgiveness. Be the lead in that. Disciple them in that and show them how to also do that. And so take these and work on them this week for the benefit of your children and your families. Thanks for joining us.